Welcome everybody to the Little Big Bro podcast. So this is the movie review side of our podcast, where we'll talk about and review old classical movies or new movies that have come out. It's basically we'll figure it out every week and see which movies to just throw at you and give our little recommendations on it.
And we thought about starting off with one of our favorites,
yes,
which is the original, the first Mortal Kombat that they made. Because this was just so hyped up because all the fans of the Mortal Kombat video game, you know, all the fatalities and all that, everyone's sitting there in the theater once the new line cinema came and started saying Mortal Kombat, and the music started playing. Oh my god.
In each of us, there burns the fury of a warrior. In every generation, a few are chosen to prove it.
One of you three will decide the outcome of the tournament.
Three strangers
back in 1995
will travel to the mystical realm of Outworld to defend our people against Shang Tsung. You will die. And his forces of darkness. In an ancient tournament, one more victory.
Your soul is mine.
And our world is theirs.
It has begun!
So, a literal synopsis of Mortal Kombat. This movie
You can't run from me, Shang! I don't need to run!
As in every once in a generation or something like that. Different realms. Earth realm. Realms. So top fighters and fight out.
Combat begins.
Literally gets to either take over the other realm or promote peace. Something like that. So that's pretty much the gist of the games, and what this movie is about. So, how should we start off, Hector? Should we start off with?
Well, we're gonna start off with this is our recommendation. So we think this one's just like a classic. It's a classic view. I mean, because it's 1995, so the graphics aren't the best, but they were really good for that time. They have and they show all the characters, Sub-Zero, Scorpion. They even show Reptile, and I mean the CGI for Reptile we would think it's a little cheesy now, but back then it was exciting, because it took a lot of graphic design work for them, and they went and did everything on location. They went to Thailand to make the temples, in the opening scene.
True. Yeah.
And they did a little bit of graphic design and make them more pointy, to make them more, more of a scary look, stuff like that. But so they did a great job, bringing this from a video game to live action way back in 1995. And obviously the new Mortal Kombat movie was really good as well, but this one's just everything in it is classic. A little cheesy lines, the fight scenes were good, and there's a lot more acrobatic in the fight scenes. I think back then, where there's a lot more acrobat involved in the fight scenes than nowadays, I think. But I guess let's start it off. Go ahead, Leo.
I think both movies do a good job, this one, and of course the new one. And I think we'll do the new one at some point in the future. Maybe when it comes back to HBO Max. But both films and this film, they do bring in people who know how to fight, who know how to do martial arts. I think even the actor who plays Johnny Cage in this movie, Johnny Cage, he's just a superstar who is a martial artist, but he is a martial artist, but he does movies and he wants to make more money and be more famous. But
right,
I think even that person is he is actually like he has done martial artist.
I think he was, and I think the actor that played Sub-Zero was also. I mean, they're all martial artists and stuff, but he's done other really well known movies and stuff like that. But let's just start off with a quick description. So I mean, the movie starts off with basically there's a tournament happening, and this is the last tournament that if Earthrealm loses, that basically it's gonna belong to the Outworld King, which is Shao Kahn, right?
Shao Kahn, yeah.
Shao Kahn. Yeah. So, and then the cast that they used for this movie, I thought they did a great job. Like, I love the what's his name? Oh my god,
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung was awesome.
Yeah,
isn't also he did a great job. Him and Liu Kang. Liu Kang was a great character. Liu Kang was also the guy that was in he played the Bruce Lee movie, and he was also in what's it called, the Disney movie way back then.
Oh, which Disney movie?
Jungle Book.
Oh,
the Jungle Book, the live action Jungle Book, their first live action Jungle Book.
Nice. Yeah, the actor, like, okay, so yeah, the movie kind of starts off with like you learn that, and Shang Tsung is fighting, like, who is played by the actor's name is Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. I don't know, just back when this came out, that I still feel like he's the iconic Shang Tsung character. Even
right, like you can't think of Shang Tsung and not picture his face.
Yeah, even in the new one, I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. But like the one in 1995 is, I just feel like his face, just his like demeanor is just so like
his presence of the character.
Presence,
he was great. And like, so they continues, like, you know, in the beginning they grab the characters. They're all told like, okay, well, you guys need to compete, and of course they grab the characters, Sonya Blade, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, so all of these people from Earthrealm, and
they're getting invitations to come.
Right, they show all the characters in the very beginning. It goes by pretty fast, and then it jumps into them. You know, Johnny Cage obviously doesn't believe that there's a tournament because he's an actor. So
yeah,
he's actually in the boat.
Famous, basically.
Yeah, until he's in the boat and then sees like oh my gosh, Lord Raiden.
Yeah.
And then that's when everything's like, oh, okay. But when they get to the boat, that's actually one of the most exciting parts in the movie, because that's the first time that they actually introduce Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
And at that point in the movie, everyone's excited because, I mean, those were one of the favorite characters that everyone likes playing in the video game. You know?
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorites is always Sub-Zero. I mean, that's always been my favorite.
See, I'm like the opposite. I always like Scorpion. he's always been, that one's always been my favorite. I always like gravitate to him in the video games.
And then, you know, it was weird in the movie though, because they both came out like, you know, they worked for Shang Tsung, but after watching it a few times, then I catch what they say, that, you know, under his control.
Yeah, they're brainwashed.
Yeah, because they were brainwashed, because, I mean, through the story of the video game, they're both enemies and would kill each other, not even walk in together through a door like they just came out of a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So, which was also, I mean, the whole thing of the whole story was done really good. You know, and then they get to the island where they're going, and which I believe they were filmed in Thailand. They might have gone a couple other locations as well.
Yeah. One thing that's really interesting. So the person you follow, the main character of the movie, right, is Liu Kang. So, I mean, in the video games, there's not really a main character. It was just two characters fighting, and like at the end of the game, I think you would get a wrap up of the story of the character that you played. But
yeah, the original game, yeah, you would beat the boss like and the harder the level, the longer the story, or the more the story changed.
yeah, but in the movie they use Liu Kang as the person that you follow as the main character, because what you end up finding out is the person that dies. Oh yeah, and I mean, this is 1995. If you haven't watched this movie, like, we're spoiling it, but you already know that.
So I guess
Watch it before.
spoiler alert.
Yes, watch it before. So right at the beginning of the movie, Liu Kang's brother is killed by Shang Tsung. Even though he wakes up and it kind of looks like it's a dream, it actually happened. So one thing I wanted to point out, and I'm kind of just like realizing after watching it again, and then thinking about the Marvel movie that's coming out soon, Shang-Chi. The way they depicted Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat is kind of like an Americanized uh, a person. He moved away from his home country to go to the US, and in that doing, he was there for I don't know how many years, but it kind of like Americanized him. So he's kind of like a little more laid back, and it's funny how it's funny how they still use that constantly in movies. So like Shang-Chi is the same way, but like he moved away from his home because he wanted to do something different, and then like in the movie it's pulling him back to his home, his country.
Right. Yeah, because like the only reason that Liu Kang is going to this tournament is basically get revenge for his brother. Because in the opening scene of Mortal Kombat, his brother's fighting Shang Tsung, and then Shang Tsung kills him, and then steals his soul. And so his whole premise of actually going back to the Shaolin monks, which was where he was raised, and was to find out how to get to the tournament and get revenge for his brother. Yeah. And so obviously he gets this lecture that, well, your brother stayed and he fought when you should have fought, and by Raiden. But then eventually, obviously like the character has to grow and see where his responsibilities are. And then, throughout the movie, they end up going to, obviously the final scene they fight. Yeah. But working the way up to it,
spoilers, of course.
Yeah, spoilers. Sorry.
Of course, it's good to have.
But working the way up to it, they actually introduced all these characters, which is awesome. Like they show Sonya Blade and her nemesis, which was what's his name, Leo? Kano, which I thought this Kano was the perfect Kano based off of the video game, like physique wise, character wise, attitude. He was an ass. Yeah. Wait, can I say that? So, anyways,
we can bleep it if we need to.
Okay, so, and it's just he was great. Like the newer one that they used, I thought he was okay. I mean, he did good, but I don't think his physique. Yeah. I liked his character, but I just thought his physique was,
He was too scrawny.
Yeah, he was too scrawny. Like, but like it's funny, like all the superheroes and all the action movies back in the 90s were all buff and strong, and like all the superheroes now are not all buff and strong.
That's true. I mean, comparing the two movies, the Liu Kang in the 1995 Mortal Kombat, he was big. He was just muscles. His pecs were perking out. He was very muscular.
Well, I mean, not to take away from the Liu Kang in the new movie though, because the Liu Kang in the new movie,
he
was just,
but not
very small.
Not
he was very small, but when he took his shirt off, I mean, he got ripped. I was surprised. I was like, hey, what's this with the guy's ripped?
Yeah.
But so I'm sure that guy, he worked his butt off to get to where they were. But yeah, all the characters were like back then, like were a lot more just muscular. Even like the first guy that Liu Kang fought in the tournament was this black guy with like long dreads, and it's cool because they gave him like this little like tiger noise when they were fighting.
Oh yeah.
And he was actually he's a martial artist as well. He was actually on a show way back in the day. Remember that martial arts TV show where two different people would fight? And like one guy was dressed like Native American, another guy would like do wushu. all different types. It was hosted by Bruce Lee's daughter. I'm forgetting the name of it. We'll find out the name and put it in so you guys can search it.
Put it in the descriptions below.
Yeah. But so that guy was one of the guys from the show, and I forgot. He had a bunch of different characters, but it was a martial arts show. You know, martial arts was big back then.
Yeah, and it was cool when they fought. It's kind of like Avatar, like two different fighting styles are fighting each other. So like,
right.
The
fight scenes in this movie were awesome.
Yeah, I would assume he was like, I think he was Brazilian because he was fighting like, was it capoeira?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and whenever I think of capoeira, I always think of Bob's Burgers.
Oh.
Brazil. Brazil. And then Tina's just like,
that's hilarious.
We're getting off track. Where were we? The fight scenes. They're on the island. At this point, they're on the island. And I honestly didn't realize until rewatching it how funny Johnny is. Like he has a lot of funny little one-liners. Like,
oh yeah, Johnny Cage is hilarious.
Yeah, just like when they get to the island, he has so many bags with him. And I remember just watching it as they're going up these like so many stairs that like he can't carry all of them, and he ends up dropping some, and it's just like dropping and falling down the stairs.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's the funny part.
That's just fun. That's great.
It was, you know what, the whole movie it's a fun movie. I mean, for it being a martial arts movie based off a video game, because I think it was even PG-13.
Yeah,
I think it was PG-13. But it was great, and then and jumps like right into the next scenes. Like they go back to back. Like I think the next one is was a Scorpion.
I think Sonya Blade.
No, it was Sonya. It was Sonya and Jax. And then I think my favorite fight scenes were I love the Scorpion fight scene with Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
they did such a great job.
Yeah,
I mean, it starts in like.
Speaking of, speaking of buff people, the first before like all the fights start, they get to like a dining hall, and Shang Tsung wants to show off his power or his contestants, so he has Sub-Zero fight like this like under a mask, and I just remember.
Oh, that's doing, right. Yeah, that part was cool.
Shit, like flexing all the muscles.
All his guys are buff, and Sub-Zero gives them a fatality and just like freezes them.
Yeah,
that was cool.
The guy does like a like jumping sidekick.
Right.
Sub-Zero just freezes him and then he shatters and his head falls.
And then that's when they like a little bit later after that they introduced Goro, which Goro was cool. Goro was an animatronic character.
Right. Yeah, like it was. I wouldn't.
Yeah, they did an awesome job.
But that was really fun. His facial expressions were so like fun. I don't know.
Right.
Not too cartoonish, but like they were so like expressive. Like nowadays, you would do a CGI character. But
right, exactly. Like nowadays, it'd be CGI. Like back then, like the Ninja Turtles was all like Jim Henson, I think, right? And all the puppeteering that they did with the
Jim Henson's Muppets, right?
Yeah. So that's the guys that did the puppeteerings with the Ninja Turtles, the original ones.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
And compared to like the new Ninja Turtles was all CGI.
Yeah. What would you say? Do you think nowadays they should do more like a little more of a balance, or like do they?
I think they should do probably more of a balance. Like not always depend on CGI.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, you have movies like Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, the new one, that you have to be gigantic CGI, but sometimes they do like a little bit. But
no, they think that I thought they did a lot of like they did do animatronics.
yeah, for the
like in the first Jurassic Park movie, it was like all animatronics. The whole like Triceratops where they had it.
yeah. Oh yeah, that was.
But we're getting off the movie.
We're talking about dinosaurs.
But so let's go back to Mortal Kombat. I think the Scorpion fight scene was one of my favorites, which is coming towards like the middle end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then I was a little bit disappointed by the Sub-Zero and Liu Kang fight scene.
Yeah, understandable, because it was basically them or Sub-Zero just standing still.
Yeah, because he was doing this bubble of frozen thing, which like if you'd go in it or anything would come in, it would freeze. But it was like there was more CGI than actual like a fight. But you know what was actually really cool is the reptile. So the reptile was actually a reptile, but
let's talk about the Scorpion fight scene first.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that. So Scorpion, so the fights are commencing, so that they've already started. So then you get Scorpion and Johnny Cage fighting. So, set the scene. Like they're just literally dropped in like a forest of like dead trees.
Yeah, which I think
like
the forest is somewhere in. It looked like it was like in Japan because it's like long rows of trees.
Yeah,
I know this forest has been used before in other martial arts movies, and then they see each other, and that's when you see like Scorpion's like iconic like get over here. He shoots his like thing out of his in this movie it comes out of his palm, then
yells
and then he ends up
get over here,
and then they end up teleporting into because he teleports and then Johnny Cage follows him with like a sidekick, and they teleport into the like hell or his realm,
underworld,
the underworld, and so they have this badass fight scene because it just goes through like levels because they're like in some type of like chamber of death,
underworld thing. Yeah,
but it's like they
don't explain much, but you're just like, oh damn, where are they? Like they just got transferred.
Right. And they just drop on and do this like awesome fight scene. Like I mean, they use they use their surroundings. It's just basically on this little like a small little row where they're just going back and forth fighting, and and in a small space, and it was a really well choreographed fight scene.
Yeah.
And then they end up dropping at the bottom where then you see another iconic move of Scorpion as he pulls off his mask and he becomes this like the scales and tries to breathe fire.
Yep.
And of course Johnny Cage being one of the main characters wins at the end. But
one cool part about this scene, and I do remember like because so Hector and I were 9 years apart. He's 9 years older than me. So I remember how much this influenced you because I think it was this scene, like the way he got up, and I don't know how you call it, just that like you like.
Oh no, it wasn't him. It was actually a Sub-Zero. So it was in the opening scene of Sub-Zero. I thought it was super cool when he fought Liu Kang. So Liu Kang kicked him or hit him, and then he fell back, and then he stopped himself in like a back handspring.
Yeah.
Like midway, and then kicked himself back up, and then continued fighting. And I thought that was the coolest thing. So I spent like countless times falling on my back and my head to try and do that until I eventually was able to do it.
And our dad kept yelling at you like, "You're gonna hurt your head. You're gonna give yourself a concussion." Yeah, you're finally able to do it. That's see this movie and just influencing in fun ways. Weren't you able to break dance on your head?
Yeah, I tried. I mean, I little things, but I learned that from a movie as well.
So this movie brings us so many memories. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I think after the other fight scene with Johnny Cage was actually really good too. Is when he fought Goro.
Yeah,
So watching Goro fight was actually really good. And I mean, compared to like the new movie where Goro fought and there's a lot of CGI.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I think it was two people using like multiple mechanical hands to fight, and it was just like, after watching it you can just have appreciation to like all the effort that took into making this character.
That's true.
And and it's funny because like Johnny Cage does the splits and like hit them in the balls.
Yep, he does his.
And then you're like,
every Mortal Kombat character has their like iconic moves. So like Scorpion has his like his, I don't know what it's called, a kunai with a chain or something. But he has that thing. He'll like, it comes in this movie, it comes out of his hand, right? Like you said, and it's supposed to like grab somebody and bring him in. Sub-Zero, ice, he freezes people. But yeah,
right.
Johnny Cage's is literally, he does the splits and hits somebody right in the nuggets. And so it's great. So yeah, so he does that to the big four-armed Goro, and he can't help but like, you feel it, and he's like, oh no. That was great.
And another, then I think it jumps into because I think Liu Kang ends up having this relationship with I think it's Katana.
Katana, yeah.
Katana,
very close, very similar.
Yeah, I know, right? And so, but she's like trying to help because she's a princess. She's trying to help, so she ends up fighting him. But it was just sort of like a little story that's thrown in there. It doesn't really, she's just basically, she's on the side of the Earth realm. Is basically, she's like gonna assist them.
Yeah.
And then when another really good fight scene, I think was also the reptile one. Reptile's fight with Liu Kang. So Reptile's style was just intense speed, like full force going forward, and had a lot of some Muay Thai strikes and moves into it.
Yeah.
But it was just like, just coming at you hard, and it was cool. So there's some, but in this one is where you see actually one of Liu Kang's iconic moves, and that's like the bicycle kick.
Yeah, good. And not just a normal bicycle kick, but like he's up in the air like for a good like 10 seconds, just like kicking the person like
right, just like the video game.
It's just like the video game. Yeah, at that point when they do that fight, so Goro was the champion. So Outworld had won 9 tournaments. This is the 10th one that the movie takes place. And Goro was the champion who has brought the 9 victories. So at the point in the movie, like closer to the end, like the 3rd act, when Johnny Cage beats him, I don't know, Shang Tsung just kind of goes he goes by his own rules. So he ends up kidnapping Sonya.
Oh yeah,
and taking her to like the Nether Realm, I think, or Outworld.
Outworld.
That's where like Reptile. So Liu Kang and Johnny Cage then go follow, and that's where they do the fight with Reptile. Which it's so weird how Reptile in the movie Reptile goes into a statue, and I don't know, the statue like takes control of Reptile and creates the ninja of Reptile.
Yeah, because he falls into this like Outworld statue, and then it like sucks him in.
Yeah.
And then he ends up becoming this person and a ninja, which is a little, it's a little cheesy, but you sort of just go with it.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end, then when he's beaten, he turns back into that statue, and just like bugs come out of his stomach because I guess he ate bugs earlier. I don't know.
Oh, he's a lizard. He eats bugs.
But this brings us to the final fight.
Yeah.
Right. So
between Shang Tsung and Liu Kang, of course.
Yeah, and so Sonya's tied up. She's in this mini skirt or capturing outfit,
Yeah, this is the
showing
90s.
skin.
You know, the 90s still were at that point. They were still, like, oh, if this is a girl, she's got to look sexy for some reason.
Right. Yeah. There's no really point of it, but it was just like she was. And then it's funny because like there's the logo at the bottom where like, and then you can tell it's the final fight because they're fighting up top, and at the bottom these spikes come out from the floor that has the Mortal Kombat dragon.
Yeah.
But if you look close enough, you can see how that it was like foil or something when they're coming out. So I mean, you can sort of see that they don't look like really real.
Yeah. This is this is the 90s. They have a budget.
And so Liu Kang and Shang Tsung, the actors did a great job for their final fight scene. Like they started off, doing a lot of like circular movements and blocks and a different style, and it was really good because it was just basically they weren't hitting each other until finally, I believe Liu Kang got hit, and then he retracted the hit. And I heard back in the looking back into the movie that the actor that played Shang Tsung was told Liu Kang to actually hit him for real. So when he gets up from the ground and you see a little bit of blood on his lip, that's his actual real blood, because he told him to hit him for real to make the scene, the scene feel real.
Yeah.
And so after that final hit, it's like the final blow, and then he becomes, he uses his powers and brings the souls of all these warriors back to life to fight Liu Kang, and then eventually, he ends up.
That's a part where, like, I don't know how many Mortal Kombat games were out at that time, maybe 3. But like all these characters that came out to fight, all these characters that he resurrected were like no-name characters. I feel like if they did that in like nowadays, they would have been characters from Mortal Kombat.
Right.
So in my head, I'm like, oh, they could have done so much more with more characters that just like they didn't.
Yeah, I think they just brought back like old warriors from different dynasties.
Yeah, but it was cool that all of them were different, like martial artists. So like one was like a samurai.
Yeah, one was a samurai, one was a Mongolian warrior.
Yeah.
I forget what the other ones were.
I don't know. I think the guy who basically used a spear or something. It's different martial arts, different eras.
But it was a cool fight scene, and then obviously at the end he gets to see like he defeats Shang Tsung and gets to
Well, Shang Tsung does something that's I like. It's so villainous or so bad guy. Like, so Shang Tsung, one of his powers, other than being able to like suck the souls out of his victims, and then resurrect old warriors, he can shapeshift.
Oh yeah.
He turns himself, he shapeshifts himself into Liu Kang's brother and tries to kind of trick him and tell him like, I don't know, like, remember when our parents died? You promised you would protect me. Why didn't you protect me? And it's such a, I don't know, it's such a good bad guy thing to do.
It's like a classic villainous role to make them, make them feel like, oh, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, I let him down, and then but he fights through it and then goes like, no.
Yeah, there was a movie that I watched recently. It's an anime. If you ever watch Demon Slayer, that's an anime. It's awesome. I keep telling Hector to watch it. He'll love it.
I have started it.
You have? Oh, yes. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But in the movie that they've made for that, there's a scene where the main character is tricked. I don't even want to spoil it, but he's tricked and sees his family, and basically his family is telling him like, why didn't you protect us? You let us die. You're the one that should have died. And then it's like it's great. Like, cause just the main character's just he's got to fight through it, and you're just like, oh, this is like it's still used to this day. I like that little character thing. It's still used.
Right.
Where you try to like deceive the main character, but he like fights through it. He or she fights through it, and you're like, yeah, you can't control them. But yeah, and then after that, it's what is it? Their fight, they're like end fight, like when they're like above the spikes. They don't do like what was it? It's not like one punch and he's like dead. They do such a cool little like slow motion where just like he does like a fast, fast, fast hit and then fast, fast, fast hit. It's so.
Is that supposed to be his power move? Because doesn't he have like some hits where in the video game where he's like like his fists are on fire or something?
Yeah, it's fire.
Yeah.
But it's his speed. Well, like the Liu Kang character in the video game is derived or inspired by Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee was always like, it's like kick, like fast punches, and then one like really hard punch. So I like how like it's just like a punch, like block, punch, and then the block, punch. It's really cool. It's really well done. So it's really fun. I like it. They do a well job. They do a really good job. But what happens at the end? When he
after that punch, he gets hit and then falls onto the spikes, and then the souls of all the warriors that he's taken are set free.
Yep.
And they don't really leave it for like a sequel, but like they ended up having a sequel called like Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which, I mean, it was. I guess it's worth watching, but it was just like,
It's so bad that I wouldn't say it's good, but it's just so it's so bad, and the stuff that they took it to, you're just like, huh.
It's like they tried to do way too much.
Yeah.
I think they tried to do way too much when the first one was such a hit, because like the first one was subtle. You did subtle here, the Scorpion and Sub-Zero were shown not a whole bunch, which made it so much more exciting when they were shown.
Yeah.
And on the Annihilation, there's like a bunch of stuff that they showed, and they brought a bunch of characters.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I mean, it just felt like it was too much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when this movie was made, 1995, there was only like at least maybe 3 or 4 Mortal Kombat games, so their stories were limited. So that's why they basically kill off Scorpion and Sub-Zero in this one.
Right.
So you can't really bring them back in the second one. So that's where like the new one. I mean, if you ever get the chance to play the video games, I think Mortal Kombat 10 and 11, those stories are just as good as the movies.
Yeah,
they use all the characters in such like a really good way. That now that the new movies are being made, they have so much story to like bring in and to use, and more characters.
They have so much. They can make so many, and I heard something that they're gonna make like 4 Mortal Kombat movies, or I mean the character that played Sub-Zero signed on for like a 3-movie contract if the first ones are good. So we're excited because he's awesome.
He's freaking awesome. Wasn't he in the Raid movies?
Yeah, he was in the Raid movies. He wasn't the main character. He was like the supporting character.
Yeah.
Or one of the main characters.
No. Oh, that's a movie.
But he was also in the show Warrior, which is awesome show. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's on. I think it's on HBO Max as well. It used to be on Cinemax, but then it went to HBO Max.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, that's pretty much our review.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the ending is really funny because they do like shoot themselves in the foot or bite themselves in the butt, because like they leave it at a cliffhanger when they like show the main villain at the very end, like he breaks into the Earth realm and he's like,
Oh,
Shao Kahn's like,
right.
I'm gonna come get you, and then all the five now main characters are like, no, you're not, and then they pose like, and then
that's right. They do leave it off like that. So then, So then the Mortal Kombat Annihilation did continue on from that, because they do go fight Shao Kahn in that movie, and they bring in like Sindel and some other characters.
The video games tell their story so much better than that movie did, because Shao Kahn is definitely like he's a big presence. He has to be like, I don't know, like The Rock size, or even maybe a little bit like Shaq size. He's just that big and menacing. That movie definitely didn't do. He's like I don't know, the same height as Liu Kang, and he's like, that's not supposed to be. That's not supposed to be true. That's cool. I think that's pretty much it. That's the review. That's the movie.
Yeah, and we recommend to watch it. It's a classic to watch, and it's classic. It's fun to watch even now, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, how many years? 16 years?
95. Yeah.
My God. Yeah, it still holds up.
So,
it's fun. It's literally a fun movie.
Yeah.
Don't think about it.
Which I think our next review might have to be the Ninja Turtle movie, the original one.
I'm down. Yeah, that sounds good.
I think that's gonna be so. Why don't you guys stay tuned for our next one?
Yes.
Our next podcast on movie review. We're gonna do the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It might be a two-parter, because we might do that one and the second one. The first one and the second movie are both really good.
Yeah.
I don't know about the third one.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just review it at the end of the second one. Just be like, yeah, this is good. This is a good part.
Just do a little quick one.
Yeah. But
well, we want to thank you everyone for joining and for listening to us and watching.
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah.
Please leave us a review. Like us on the interwebs, on the YouTubes. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. If you do, we'll comment back. Ask us any questions. Maybe give us a suggestion of what movies you would like us to review. Maybe it's one that we haven't watched. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and then
we'll watch it for the first time.
We'll watch it and then we'll review it.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys liked it. And thank you for joining.
And let's leave them with, ready? Like count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Mortal Kombat! Alright, bye everybody.
Alright, see ya.
That was funny.